What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live post-game edition here on a Thursday night. The Blazers played Maccabi Ra'anana. Did I say it right?
I think you said it right,
there's
yeah.
another day. I haven't tried to say that until now. Yeah, I thought it would be more fun to say than that. But they played an Israeli international team, didn't play their starters, played some of their bench guys, including Shaedon Sharpe, which is the headliner tonight. And they blew the doors off Maccabi. Final score, a lot to a little, Eric, because I don't remember the final freaking score.
138 to 85, I think.
Good job. Good job. Yeah. There was a million fouls in this game. I went to this game. That's why the post game's going live a little bit later. Also, given the opponent and given the type of game it was, and the fact that it's a Thursday and that's when we normally stream, I figured it was right to just do the post game show for this one over here on the second channel. So thank you for joining us. Hopefully you enjoyed your night, and hopefully you enjoyed the Shaedon Sharpe show, because that's what it was, Eric. I wanted to get my first experience watching Shaedon Sharpe play basketball. Just see what he looked like in person, right? See what all the hype was about. And he lived up to the hype in this game. In 23 minutes, the kid has 27 points. Let me find his stat line here. 27 points on 10 for 13 shooting from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, 6 for 6 from the free throw line, has 3 steals, 2 rebounds, and an assist, as well as a couple of blocks. 27 points in 23 minutes. And he showcased the potential. Finally got some run. Yes, it wasn't against an NBA team. But let me tell you what, Eric. Watching him in person was an absolutely fantastic experience. When they took him out of the game halfway through the fourth quarter, I really wanted to leave. And then after like 10 fouls and 2 minutes later, I left.
Dude, so many fouls. Oh, my goodness.
23 fouls for Portland. 34 for them, Eric.
Not only does it take a while to get home from the game and stuff so you could set up, but yeah, like they just kept fouling. I was like, oh my goodness. At one point they had like 21 fouls in like early in the third quarter. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was rough. And shout out to Carson who went with me. Carson Dunn.
What's up, Carson?
And shout out to Connor who went with me as well. Had some trouble getting into the stadium because like I think I needed to accept my tickets twice. I accepted them once through one of the ticket apps, but it wasn't Ticketmaster, and I think they got revoked when I didn't accept them right away through Ticketmaster. I don't know, it was just a whole thing, so I better get a freaking refund. That was confusing, so we were sitting outside the stadium, like, struggling to get in, so Cotter stepped up and bought sub instead, so I better get a refund. So that was fun, but, yeah, I mean, this was just, dude, I would have been annoyed to have been playing against this team as a Portland Trailblazer, like an established NBA player, because you got these guys that just aren't, they aren't even close to NBA caliber. You got Terrence Jones and Norris Cole out there. It's kind of funny, but, it's obviously a team that, I mean, Portland beat them by what? Quick math. 53 points with their end of the bench guys. But they
covered the spread. Yeah,
which was like 29 points or something like that. Norris Cole was a minus 52 despite him having 19 points on over 50% from the field, which is wild. But no, dude, this Israeli team just played physical as hell and pressed and hacked all game long. That would have been annoying. It was annoying to watch. So that game took forever. Glad it finally got over with. That was a very long game. But, Eric, we got to talk about Shaedon Sharpe, man. So I obviously watched him in person being at the game, and then I saw clips of him, of all his buckets, and let me tell you what, those clips don't do him justice in terms of just how he looks in person. He moves like his feet aren't even touching the freaking ground. I don't know how to explain it, man. Like, the dude, when he moves, it's like he's just floating. Like, people say, oh, he's floating in the corner, he's not really cutting or whatever. I don't mean floating in that sort of way. Like, when he runs, when he drives, it's like he's just floating. It's unreal. I've been to a lot of games. I don't remember seeing a player move the way, like how he moved out there on the court. And a lot of people are going to think that's BS. I'm fanboying over him because I've been on the Shaedon Sharpe train for a while, man. But I'm curious if any of you in chat have sat close to a preseason game, the 2 preseason games here in Portland. What was your just how does Shaedon Sharpe look to you? Because to me, it looked like he was just floating out there. He still has a couple things to work on. Ball handling is the obvious one. And then also, like, I think once he improves his ball handling, his burst will be a little bit better. But, dude, like, the way he moves is uncanny. And then the way he jumps is uncanny. And it's, and then the sweet, buttery mid-range shot and a couple of the little, like, change of pace moves he threw in there. Ooh, it was fun to watch.
Yeah, and if anyone's going to be up here saying that, it was against poor competition or whatever, even if that's fair, I think this game was super important for Sharpe, just to go out there, score some buckets, and do that. Because now, I mean, most of his buckets he's going to be able to get against NBA competition too, like especially those pull-ups. So I think this was like really important because, we've seen him shoot, but he's been kind of hesitant. He's given up the ball really quick a lot of times. So I think just having a game where he could showcase what he could do, we might look back on this and say, man, that was like the turning point for him getting confidence to actually play this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is, does this international team beat the Kentucky Wildcats? It's probably a game, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing is we're talking about a kid who hasn't played in college. I mean, he's dominating a college game playing like this, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have former NBA players out there, guys that would be very, very good college players. Like, if this Maccabi team was a college team, they would be a very, very good college team. Might be the best college team in the country. Like, you still got some guys out there that know how to play. Some former NBA guys. Norris Cole looked good. Terrence Ross. Guys that were good college players. So you're talking about a guy who didn't play in college, and there was conversation when he was drafted, like, who knows what he could even be in college, right? Top picks, top prospects sometimes don't even pan out in college. So taking a guy like that at 7 just because he was a top prospect could be a mistake. That's a conversation that some people had to have, right? But this is at the very least a high caliber college strength team, maybe better. And he puts up 27 points in 23 minutes. And it's like he's just playing by a different set of physics than anybody else out there on the court, man. Like, if he played, 30 plus minutes, he probably would have had 40 points. So the fact that he had this performance while some people will downplay the opponent, I don't think anybody should be having that conversation anymore. Like, who knows what he could be at the college level, because it's pretty obvious just by watching tonight. Yeah, he would have absolutely dominated the college level, and who knows, he could have been a top 3 college player. Like, he could have been a top 5 pick if he returned to college, man, just because his talent would have carried him at the college level. The talent was obvious tonight.
That might be something we have to talk about later, though, is this upcoming draft, because people are going crazy over Wembanyama. But
yeah, not tonight. We don't have a ton of time tonight, guys. We'll probably be off air in like 30 minutes. Eric's not feeling the best and got some other things to do. So, but go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, doesn't really matter the competition. You just wanted to see Sharpe actually play minutes. Yeah, I agree with chat that it would have been nice to see him play even more than 23 minutes, but not going to complain. We got to see him dominate in the time he was in there. And yeah, there's definitely some things he needs to clean up. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on if there was any like critiques you had of his game, or if it was all positive or not.
Just the ball handling. He has to be, and that's what I said before we even drafted him, was he needs to become a better ball handler. Like, he has moves because his footwork is so good and he has a good feel for the game, but the ball handling like needs to catch up to that. When the ball handling catches up to that, then you'll see a dude that can score in any way on the court. Because you saw it in the previous preseason game, he had that little wrap around behind the back into the step back that he knocked down, right? I think his shooting might not be there yet, but I'm not worried about that whatsoever. He's figuring out the NBA 3-point line and whatnot. The mid-range looked good, but I think it's just there's things that he wants to do off the dribble because he has the footwork and the foot speed and the athleticism to do it, but he can't quite do it yet because his ball handling isn't there. So, like he had a drive I think this is the perfect example of this. He had a drive, I think it was in the first half still, where he drove left. Somebody stunted at him. He, like, stopped and kind of, like... I don't know how to explain it. You know that play where he drove left, took that pound dribble, and stopped midway through his drive, low hesitation move, and then kept going all the way to the rim?
Yeah.
That sort of drive, like... That probably looked like they were playing no defense, man. But seeing that in person, because we were right behind the basket on that play... Mm-hmm. The change of pace and just how he made that move, that's a pro level move, right? And he made it look easy, man. But he saw the guy stunning at him,
get him on your back,
dribble, kept his defender on his back, got all the way to the rim. Like, I don't know how to explain why that play was special, but that wasn't a play where you had to, like, cross somebody up and do, like, a really sharp crossover or anything like that. Is basically my point, is he didn't need to have, like, a super special handle in order to make that move. And when the situation called for it, he changed pace in order to deal with the defender stunning at him, then easily exploded out of it and got to the rim. And that whole play just looked like he was just almost walking. You know what I mean? But, like, was still explosive, was still smooth. So... Once the ball handling catches up, like, I think he has the footwork and the creativity in the body to be a really shifty, like, off the dribble scorer. His ball handling just isn't where it needs to be for that. But that is one of the most developable things in the NBA. Right? So, like, 2-3 years from now, when he has a handle with everything that he can do, I think he will be just an absolute dynamic scorer. And then also, like, the other thing is, you know, against the type of athletes he was playing against tonight, like the burst. He doesn't have to have a ton of bursts in order to blow by guys. Like, I was just more impressed with this dude. Is just acting like he looks like he's floating on the court. It's just uncanny. But at the NBA level, obviously, you got to have some sort of burst off the dribble. I feel like he might have that burst because watching him off ball, how he would explode towards, like, handoffs and whatnot. Like, he seems like he has, like, first step explosiveness. I just don't think he's fully confident in his handles, so he doesn't play super explosive with his first step off the dribble. So I think once he improves his handle, he might be a more explosive player off the dribble, and that's not even with any of, you know, any more explosiveness training or whatnot. So it's like, if he can develop a little bit of a quicker first step and then get a better handle, then I think he'll be blowing by guys, he'll be shaking off guys with his dribble, and he'll be what we think he can be.
See, I was that was gonna be my follow up, is because we've heard in the past that despite his crazy athleticism, he might not have the quickest first step. You think that's just due to his loose ball handling? So once he cleans that up, it'll be fine, or do you think he still needs to work on that a lot?
I mean, I think he needs to work on it regardless, but I think he would be a quicker player off the dribble if he had more confidence in his ball handling ability and or his ability to get himself out of trouble if he drives into traffic and can't get all the way to the rim. Mm-hmm. But it's a situation where, yeah, obviously you want to try and get that first step in order to be able to blow by guys. But I don't know, man. Like, did you watch him, the way he was, like, cutting to the ball and how explosively he was cutting to the ball? He was moving quicker off the ball than he was with his dribble, like, noticeably quicker.
Well, unfortunately, the Jumbotron feed from the game that I had to watch by not being there, that was the only option available, which I was thankful for, at least.
Yeah.
But the angles were terrible, and they would show every replay twice, so you didn't really get to see much, like, off-ball stuff, unfortunately, but...
Yeah, like he had plays, you know, the play where they screen away, they have the ball on one side of the floor, the guy in the center of the floor will screen away for somebody off ball on the weak side, and they'll cut towards the ball, get a pass, and turn downhill. Mm-hmm. Like they ran that for Damon Ant last year. On those plays, I was watching for Sharpe how he tried to set up his man into that, and he was doing a really good job setting up his man. Like, he would kind of, like, act like he was going to head down towards the weak side corner, and then he'd spring out of that towards the screen, towards the ball, and he looked explosive doing it. Like, he looked more explosive doing that than attacking off the dribble. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's a situation where he just has no first step, even though he can jump out of the gym. I feel like it's just being able to handle the ball well enough, but then also, like, some guys off the dribble just don't get their bodies into the most explosive positions, right? A lot of it off the dribble is like, you got to set up your feet and your weight and like shin angles and that sort of thing, like there's a certain optimal body position to be able to explode from a dead stop. And for some guys, it's natural when they don't have the ball in their hands to just naturally get into those positions and explode out of it. And that's what I was saying off the ball. It could be a situation where it's not only the ball handling, but also he has to learn how to set up his body to get into more explosive positions off the dribble so that he can explode through his first step.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, so I know there were a lot of people upset that Brandon Williams got the start over him tonight.
I think my free Sharpe tweet got over 100 likes.
But the thing is, I think he showed, because you would hope that he's already... I only
got 24. I'm tripping. It was my other Sharpe tweet. Go ahead.
You would hope that he's already good enough to kind of bring the ball up against a team like this, Yeah. But I think this is not only why he didn't start tonight, but also why Brandon Williams is not going to be cut from that two-way spot is... he's the only other player outside of like the rotation guys that can actually bring the ball up the court without getting in trouble with it. And it seems like a simple thing, but it's really important in the NBA. You can't be messing with turning the ball over, trying to bring the ball up the court. So I was a little disappointed that he couldn't even do that in this game.
I think Hart can.
No, I'm saying outside of our rotation.
Oh, outside of our rotation. Yeah. I mean, teams aren't going to press and foul this much. Like, sure, they got a couple steals, but they were fouling like crazy to get them. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't a situation where we struggled to deal with the pressure. They just pressured so physically that, yeah, there was a couple mistakes, but it literally sent us to the line a million times in this game. How many free throws did we shoot?
A lot.
We shot 47 free throws. You know what I mean? So I feel like this game isn't necessarily the best gauge for just having a guy that can bring the ball up the court against pressure, because like NBA teams aren't going to put themselves in a position to have 34 fouls over the course of a game by playing the type of physical press defense that will actually turn the ball over.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, for those saying Keon was bringing the ball up fine, Keon brought up the ball a lot under pressure. I guess I watched a different game because
he was not completely fine bringing the ball up.
He struggled mightily bringing the ball up. And, I mean, outside of that, he was terrific in this game, too, which we'll talk about later. But outside of Brandon Williams, we had no one in this particular game. Trenton could do it, but, like, some of the players could do it, but who, if they were pressured in the backcourt, could get across half court without a screen or something. Like, that's like, a key skill you have to have if you're going to play in the NBA. And be a lead guard or, like,
Yeah, I don't think Keon handled it well, but I also don't think this is the best gauge. So both can be true. You know what I mean?
But like, I mean, we know that's like, if they're trying to mold Keon into that kind of third point guard role, which would be good because if Ant or Dame misses time, it'd be nice to have someone like that. But at the same time, I've mentioned this several times here on Blazers Uprise. CJ was also terrible at it his first couple years. Summer League, he couldn't even get the ball up the court his first and second years in Summer League. So I'm not really worried about it. I just think that's ultimately going to be why Brandon Williams makes the team, though, is because everybody's capable of handling the ball.
Go get somebody that can handle the ball and play some defense, or go handle the ball and like has the size to play. I don't know, like, or has some upside, because I just don't think. I mean, what is this upside? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want Brandon Williams on a two-way. I understand the reasoning for it, but like, if we're having to play him, we're probably already screwed. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I still don't think they play Brandon. I still think Chauncey plays Keon at the point before he plays Brandon Williams at the point. Mm-hmm. And I think he would play Keon with Hart and just like, Hart, you got to bring the ball up. And if Hart's hurt and Simons is hurt, then it's like, okay, well, Trent and Watford, you're bringing the ball up. You know what I mean? Like, you're bringing the ball up against the center. Or Grant starts bringing the ball. Yeah, I don't think it has to necessarily be a point guard bringing the ball up if they're pressuring and a point guard, like the de facto point guard, is struggling with it. I think it can be other guys by committee or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't like Brandon Williams on a two-way. I want Sar on a two-way. I thought Sar looked solid tonight. It was definitely, obviously, I keep saying this, but it wasn't the best competition. But the dude was moving around defensively, played 14 minutes, had 4 blocks, a couple assists, 6 rebounds. Sar brought the ball up once.
Yeah.
And threw a lob.
Yeah. I think more so than just being a center, you can see that he has some potential if you had him in your system for a year and maybe develop him. It's probably not going to help too much this year, but
he can shoot, supposedly.
Yeah. I don't think he's that much worse than like putting Eubanks in the game. So,
dude, I don't know that he's worse than Eubanks at all.
Yeah.
What does Eubanks do better than? I mean, we haven't seen Sar, but I don't know, man. Eubanks had 3 blocks in 20 minutes, but every minute he played that I watched him, I was just like, man, this dude's really our backup center. I don't like Eubanks as a backup center. I've been on the record saying it multiple times. Watford looked good today. His first action, 4 for 4, had a couple nice drives, finishes, that sort of thing, 3 assists.
Yeah, I agree with Chat. Eubanks sets better screens. He's a little better off the roll right now. But we haven't really seen Sar in like pick and pop situation, which he allegedly could do. But
yeah, I mean, Sar should have played more minutes tonight.
Sar also.
Eric, sorry, can I
rant
about this for like 2 sentences? So, why do we need to see 20 minutes of Drew Eubanks and only 14 minutes of Olivier Sarr? What is Drew Eubanks going to do that helps us learn more about him as a player compared to a guy like an Olivier Sarr?
Well, part of it is just getting reps and getting ready for the season. I don't know.
Reps doing what, though?
Just playing game shape. I don't know.
I don't understand, man. Like, I get it, but dude, how does this dude should play more than 14 minutes? Because we probably should put him on a two-way, and we might have to play him at some point. If Nurkic gets hurt, and we're going up a team with some big bodies at the center spot, you might have to play Sarr. With one injury to a guy that hasn't necessarily been the healthiest. Right? Yes, that's extrapolating out that they keep him on the two-way and this and that, but we don't have any depth in terms of big bodies. I don't view Eubanks as like a big, legitimately big body. Nurkic is the only one. Sarr could be the second one. That's why he better be on a two-way.
Yeah.
You should be trying to find out what do you have. He shouldn't be playing 14 minutes. You know, people say, oh, it doesn't matter. But this dude, last season, we haven't even seen him shoot a 3 yet, Eric.
Yeah.
But last season, let me look up his stats. Sarr stats. Last season for OKC in 22 games, he was 13 for 29 from 3. That's 45%. He was also 24 for 29 from the free throw line. That's 83%.
Mm-hmm.
The dude can shoot. Like, he's not a 45% three-point shooter, but, I mean, who knows? His last year in college, he shot 12 for 27 from 3. So not a high volume, but that's 44%. The dude's obviously worked on his shot, and he's big and looks like he can block shots and doesn't look like a stiff. I don't know, man. I'm not trying to get too overhyped on a training camp guy that might not make the team, but I'm out here sounding like Gabe. But I don't know, man. I like Sarr.
Yeah, I felt like he has a little bit of an issue boxing out, which isn't good for a center. But other than that, yeah, I think he should definitely be the other two-way. Roden got to the free throw line a few times, but overall hasn't really done much in his minutes. Yeah.
Honestly, Owundu in his 12 minutes I thought was solid.
He's not two-way eligible, though.
I know. I'm just saying, like, yeah. It's not going to be Owundu, but I don't know. He had a nice touch pass, man. Most guys on a training camp deal are just like, I'm going to dunk and I'm going to make a highlight so people notice me. And he had a nice touch pass instead.
He looked tall.
Yeah. But I think it has to be Sarr, and then it's either Roden or Williams, in my opinion. But as you said, it's probably going to be Williams. I'd be shocked if it's not Williams and Sarr.
Yep. Hey, Connor. Glad you got home safely. Got home 10 minutes ago, he says.
Yeah, because he rides the Max from Beaver.
So back to Sharpe. So Zach asked a question earlier. Who who did he remind you of? Is there a player you like thought of while you were watching him tonight?
Honestly, this is gonna be completely out of left field, and most people probably don't know who this is. Is Reese in here?
I doubt it.
I don't think Reese is in here. So there, you know that like little like Euro step he had through the lane. It wasn't really a Euro step, but it was a little like two kind of like bouncy steps through the lane to the rim to finish. You know what play I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of like there's a clip. It's kind of different, but he reminded me of one of the Thompson brothers that are going to be drafted next year. That play for Overtime Elite.
Yeah.
Like the way he like floated through those steps. The only person I've seen look like that is one of the Thompson brothers, who are just like insane athletes. Like they are next level, like probably better athletes than Sharpe even. But that's like the only. That's what it reminded me of.
So
I'd have to show you the clips. Maybe I'll post the clips on Twitter.
Well, it's just hard to compare him to people who are younger than him or like not.
No, but... I know. But like I can't think of an NBA player that just like that I've seen that just like looks. It's just the way he runs, and it probably doesn't even mean much, but he just looks like he's floating. Mm-hmm. His steps look so light.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of prospects, I tried to watch the whole game between Wembanyama and Scoot this morning. But unfortunately, ESPN's feed had technical difficulties in the second half. But yeah, it was very fun. Well, Scoot got hurt in the first few minutes and never came back in. But man, Wembanyama, that guy freaking... Like, I know how good he is. Like, I've watched him play several times, but like he's one of those guys who every time you watch him is like, oh man, this guy does insane things that you just can't believe, even though you've seen him do it before.
Yeah. I expect to be surprised by the way he looks. It's almost like when he looks, you know what he reminds me of? I don't know if I've said this on stream before. Chat. Wembanyama reminds me of like a 2K16 My Player back when you could make 7'4" point guards and they move around like a point guard. And back in the day, you'd see those created players 7'4", 7'5" moving like that. And you're like, what'd you say?
Cheat code.
Yeah, it'd be an absolute cheat code, but then also it'd be like you'd see them move, and it's like no human this size is ever going to move like that. Like this is literally physically impossible for a guy 7'4" or 7'5" to move like this 2K player does. This is BS.
But there's Wemby. He does.
But that's what Wemby reminds me of, is those 2K demigod builds that move like they're 6-foot guards, but he's 7'4". The way he moves, there's probably never been a person his height that's ever come close to having the capability of moving the way he moves. With the fluidity that he moves, it's surreal. And the thing is like he doesn't have your normal 7'4" body. I feel like, once you get to that height, a lot of guys will just have super long legs, right? Like his body is pretty proportionate compared to a normal person for his height, it seems like to me. Mm-hmm. Right? Like if he wasn't standing around next to anybody, maybe you'd be able to tell he's tall because he's skinny, but proportion wise, it's not like he has like insanely long legs compared to his torso, like a lot of big guys do. I mean, that dude...
Did you see that picture of him standing next to Rudy Gobert today?
Making Rudy Gobert look small?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, if that dude grows anymore, like, he's going to be generational. Because what's his floor? Shoot threes, dribble, protect the rim at an elite level. Like, what is his floor is, like... I don't know. He might struggle due to a lack of strength, but as long as he's able to add a little bit of strength, his floor is like a borderline superstar.
Yeah.
So, like, imagine if you could teach Rudy Gobert to shoot and then dribble.
I mean, he was like bringing the ball up, and there was one play where he brought the ball up, kind of went around like a screen to the corner, and the defender kind of like put his hand on the ball, and he still went up and hit like a falling to the side 3-pointer just in one motion. Like what the like? How do you stop that? There was another play where he just like took the ball in the block, dribbled to the elbow, and then just rose up and shot. Like there's no way anyone's contesting that, even in the NBA. It's just crazy at what he can do.
Honestly, like long term, he could be KD plus Gobert.
Yep. That's insane. Like yeah, no problem. Easy, man. That's simple.
Yeah, so basically it's like, oh, half the team's gonna tank, and I already saw my co-host Eric on the Believe in Blazers podcast. I'm disappointed in him. He already brought up tanking. All right, I get it. The dude is unreal. He's generational. Yeah, we're not gonna freaking tank.
Well, this is the problem with tanking. I mean, this is gonna come up all year, but we tank perfectly. Everyone's on board. The whole organization, Dame, everyone's on board. We sit out games or we lose on purpose or however it happens. We still only have a 14% chance, best case scenario, of getting him. You know how much more that would sting this year to have that envelope open and see the 7th pick and have our logo be on there compared to like even last year's draft, which wasn't anywhere near having a legendary player like that on this roster. It's like, dude, that would be so, like, if we tanked for a second straight season and ended up outside like the top 5, like it would be devastating, man. That would suck so bad. And like we mentioned all last year, the percentages would bear that out, that like that's the more likely outcome. Yes, you have a chance at a lottery ticket and to be a billionaire for, a decade plus, but like it's crazy to me that people want to do that. And they're like, why, if we're really fighting for the 10th spot or whatever, like halfway through the season, why wouldn't we try to improve our odds for that? But like, why do we have to make that decision now? Because it's not that much different to finish like 6th or 7th.
Get Dame on board with tanking, and it's like, if you think about it, if Portland tanks in their position, then you can find 15 other teams with the justification to tank too. So what? You're gonna have a tank battle against 15 other teams? And then even if you win that tank battle, you have a 14% chance of getting them? Yeah, good luck with that. And that's completely throwing out the window. Dame ain't going to be on board with that. You just built the roster to try and be decent this year and then move forward and try and add pieces to it that maybe gets you to contendership if your young core that you already have starts to pan out, right? Like, it's not even feasible unless a bunch of things go wrong like last year. So to even talk about it before the season starts is ridiculous.
Well, you saw how disappointed Dame was when our logo came up at 7. Like, imagine this year if he was like, okay, fine, I'll take one more year. And then that happened again. Yeah. I mean, yeah, 14%, it seems like a lot. Like, I don't know, but that's not a lot. It's not.
It's not. And how are you getting that? Like, I can't, dude. I said on one of the podcasts that I had before, like, I don't even want to start talking about tanking right now or thinking about it after last year. We got the season coming up. And Stephen was like, yup. So I'm going to give him crap next time I talk to him. Because he gave me crap for my Gary Payton II tweet about you don't exactly want to hear him say that it's for the money if you're a Blazer fan, and he called that tweet terrible. So we're gonna I got some crap to give him. I owe him one. Anyway.
And then, yeah, I mean, we already have Sharpe is a lottery ticket, and also, I mean, yeah, Scoot's awesome or whatever. The Thompson twins are awesome, but like, do we need more guards? Like, is that what we really need if Sharpe is good? Like, is that something that would really make the difference? Is getting another good guard? I mean, I know we could trade players then, but like we've been saying for years, we should trade CJ and stuff. Like, it doesn't necessarily work out that well. So
and the Thompson brothers aren't 100% bankable prospects. No prospect ever is, but like acting like they're just automatically for sure going to be really good NBA players is a little bit of an over-exaggeration. And I think they're going to need a little time because neither of them can shoot.
And the thing is, this draft is going to be loaded at the guard position. So even if we didn't make the playoffs, we'd get to keep our pick, but at least we like tried, and even if we're like, 10th or whatever, there's still going to be some dang good players in this draft. So
yeah, and you still have a chance of moving top 4.
Leonard Miller looked really good, and he looks huge to like. I was really impressed by him today too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I can't believe we're talking about tanking.
The
season hasn't started yet. I'm going to clown anyone from here until at least November, probably December, right? And then if the season's going decent, I'm going to clown them even longer. Anybody that comes into my chat talking about tanking in a serious manner, they're getting clowned. I'm making fun of them. Doesn't make sense. So, full steam ahead, all right? With Shaedon Sharpe as the starting small forward. No, I'm just kidding. But to get this back to the game tonight, AJ, I'm sure you are. To get this back to the game, anything else that you wanted to talk about from this 53-point win?
Yeah, I thought Keon was really good, especially passing the ball. Like I said, I'm not trying to like be like down on him or anything, but he does need to be able to bring the ball up if he's going to have that role.
Yeah. To be fair, man, they're just hand checking the whole. They were like just shut bodying. I don't know.
But
I felt kind of bad for
struggle with that before too. It's not like a new problem.
Yeah.
I think.
But this was good for him, I think, to be able to deal with that.
Absolutely.
Get some reps dealing with that in a game setting. That
his
3-point floater was nice.
His jump shot looks way better, more consistent. I know he airballed one, but overall I thought it looked.
But he was 4 for 5 from 3.
He's got. I mean, he showed this in Summer League, but he's got a nice little pull-up mid-range too now. And then, like I said, passing the ball, he was good, and then defense, of course, was good.
Yeah.
What'd you think of Watford tonight?
I mean, he looked good for his first game back. A couple nice drives. Like, otherwise, just didn't really notice he was out there, to be honest. I didn't really notice anything about him defensively.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, well, I agree. Just good to have him out there. You could tell he was still a little slowed down by that hip flexor, but yeah, I was surprised you actually, because I thought he wasn't going to play till Sunday, so I was happy he got some action tonight.
Yep.
And they actually played him. You were mentioning the minute distribution. Some of that was garbage time, but some of it was they played Trenton at 5 a little bit. So, but yeah, I like his action. I like him grabbing rebounds and going and pushing the pace as well. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a good dynamic for the bench unit, I think. A bench unit that should run, especially if Sharpe's playing with it. Like Sharpe, Greg Brown, Ant, Nas, Watford potential lineup with the bench unit should be able to get out and run and do some damage. And Watford's a guy that can grab and go, so I like him pushing the pace with those guys around him.
Carter with a $2 donation. Thank you, Carter. And never want to roll the tanking dice again. You don't want to have every stream after Blazer games be tankathon.
Dude, I don't know how he did it. I don't remember a single stream from the trade deadline to the end of the season. I don't remember a single stream or a single thing that happened. Like, I'm not kidding. It's crazy that during that time we streamed probably like, I don't know, maybe 50 hours worth, and I don't remember a single freaking second of it. I honestly need to go back and watch those streams, because dude, it was a blur.
Yeah.
Because it was miserable. I don't know how we did it. Props, Eric.
Gray, he's investigates the $5 donation. Thank you, Gray, just for being here all the time. Boom. Thank you, Gray.
Big boom. Aeromancer says, Tori, are you going to bring back Twitter Space call-ins? Probably not. It would be cool to do something like weekly with Twitter Spaces, man. I don't know. It was cool, but I don't think it's the best idea for a post-game show for what we do. Like, for radio where it's all call-ins, it's kind of different than us, where we're just, like, going into depth, breaking things down. And we don't know when to cut a call short, and it's a little harder running it with a Twitter Space compared to the way radio does it, so we probably won't. I'll probably try and keep post-game streams between an hour and a half to an hour and 40 minutes this year, a little bit under 2 hours. We've already kind of failed with preseason, but I want to have, like, a set structure for post-game shows next season, and I probably won't do that. Some people said they would rather I don't, and some people said they would rather I do, so it was hard to make a call on that. Mm-hmm. But I do want to talk to y'all, so, I mean, we'll figure something out.
So now we gotta talk about Nas. What did you think of Nas tonight?
I mean, he looked good against people that he could physically dominate.
Yeah. He was playing some bully ball in his drives.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing is, like, I don't know how much to make out of it. It's nice to see him 11 points, 5 for 7 from the field, 18 minutes. 1 for 2 from 3 is good, I guess, but it was a wide open 3, and then the other 3 he airballed. Which is kind of the Nas experience, right?
Yeah. Courtesy of Trevin, who still is ducking my question on whether he'd go to a basketball game with me or not. But he has pointed out that this is probably Nas's best preseason game ever. He doesn't have good stats in preseason in any season so far. But
yeah, I mean, but it's like, why does he start the season so slow?
I don't know.
And then he'll have, like, a breakout month and then get hurt. It's like, if he's truly that guy, shouldn't he be able to start the season this game as an impactful player?
Like we talked about with Sharpe, maybe this will be the key to getting him going.
Yeah, but we're talking about a rookie who didn't play in college and a fourth-year NBA player. Yeah. You know, it's just kind of like, at what point, if he's truly to become that starting caliber 3, you would think that he could come into a season and have a positive impact. But it's like every season coming into the season. I understand his rookie year or even his second year, but like last year, there's all this hype in the first preseason game, and he even admitted it, but he was terrible. He was like 0 for 10 or something like that with like 6 turnovers. I don't remember his stats. That might be a little bit worse than they actually were, but he was terrible his first preseason game. So it's just like, why can't he just come into a season solid? I don't know. Hopefully he figures it out sooner this year than last year.
Yeah, hopefully. And for those asking if this is his one game he gets to start, I hope not. I hope they actually give him a legit game with the starters. Dame did mention that there'd be one game where he didn't play significant minutes, and this was obviously it. So, yeah, got 2 more games. I think Sunday against the Kings and Tuesday against the Warriors, and then it's gearing up for this season.
Yep. Nas like started last year shooting the ball decently. He was 8 for 16 from 3. But it was only 6 games in October. Then in November, in 15 games, production fell off a cliff. He shot 25% from 3. I mean, he was still solid in other areas. He wasn't bad necessarily in November. So last year he started off a little bit better. But then December, 21% from 3. January, 40% from 3. That's just kind of how it goes. I don't know. Because the year before, I always go back and look at his monthly splits. Just shooting the 3-ball mostly because he's like wildly inconsistent as a shooter, and that's kind of where things stem. The year before started off January 36% from the field, but 40% from 3. But it was only in 8 games, and he played 72 minutes. He only took 11 shots. February 54% from 3 was 12 for 22. Then the following 2 months was 13 for 51 from 3, right around 25%. I don't know. I guess there's probably not a pattern there. Mm-hmm. Just that there's inconsistencies, and inconsistencies are always going to be inconsistent for the most part.
Yeah. And so 1 week from tonight, just let everyone know, we'll have our prediction show where Tori and I and all the mods will give our seedings predictions and award predictions.
Yep.
That'll be a fun stream, so join us for that next Thursday, the 13th, if you are interested in that.
Yep, and then the next two preseason postgame shows will be back on the main channel on Sunday and on Tuesday. On Sunday, they play who?
Kings, I think.
And then on Tuesday, they play the Warriors?
Yeah, I believe so.
So, yeah, I'm glad Sunday, the Mariners playoff game, doesn't coincide with anything Blazer-related. If they play it, because that's a game 3. If necessary, it's a best of 3, so
I thought it was
in 2 games.
To be to determine what the time was.
No, it would be 11 a.m. Tomorrow and Saturday, it's 1 p.m. first pitch times.
Yeah.
Guys, my Twitter tomorrow is going to be full Mariners. Don't ask me a Blazers question the next 2 days on Twitter, alright? Because it's full Mariners. If you're a Mariners fan and a Blazers fan and you don't follow me, you're making a mistake, probably. Follow me at Tory Jones YT, Eric's at Hoopshock. Throw the tags up. I always forget to throw them back up there.
Definitive One asks, what are the chances of Sharpe earning the starting small forward spot by late this year or early next year?
In terms of, like, early next year as in 2023? Or early next season? I don't think he earns the starting 3 spot this season.
I mean, it'd be
But
great if he
given
did.
Given how bad the competition has gone, like Hart hasn't done much, and Nas has been bad, and Winslow's looked the best. Like maybe, but they need a defensive stopper there. They need a defensive stopper there, and if like having a defensive stopper there doesn't make them a really good team, then it might be a situation where you start to have conversations. I don't know how you're going to feel about this, Eric, but if you have Nas and he's playing really good on-ball defense, and you got Grant and you got Nurkic, but it's like Dame and Ant just aren't good enough defensively, and the Blazers still can't be good enough on the defensive end with those 2 guys, then it might become a situation where you're starting to talk about Sharpe potentially being the future shooting guard next to Dame in the next couple of years, and maybe you have to move Ant. If that defense isn't good enough.
Yeah, hopefully that's not the case.
Yeah, I'm not advocating that or anything, but I mean, I could see that becoming a conversation in the future, depending on how things go. I don't know. But I think you need to see Dame and Ant start next to each other with like a really good defensive 3, and then Grant, and then Nurkic, and just see how good the defense can be. So I don't think Sharpe ends up starting in that situation. And if the season goes sideways, then maybe you throw him in there to switch it up. But, like, the season would have to go poorly in order for him to have any chance of starting this season. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah.
Shout out Caleb Pendergraft, $5 dono. I really hope the Mariners have a better playoffs than last time, because that was the most depressing sports series of my life. Thank you, Caleb Pendergraft, with the $5 dono. Caleb Pendergraft, you're showing your age by talking about the last time the Mariners had a playoff series, man.
How old are you, Caleb? I'm interested now, because I thought you were younger.
That's so sad,
30.
You remember the last time the Mariners were in a playoff series? Damn, you're old.
So you're only like 10. How is that the most depressing thing ever?
Yeah, you were 9. See, I haven't seen one, man. Like, I was thinking about this last night. In terms of, I don't know, chat, if you guys are the same way, but I remember, like, the first Niners playoff game and the first Blazers playoff game that I got to see in my childhood as a fan. Like, I'm probably the oldest you can possibly be to see a first playoff game for a team that I've been a fan of basically my entire life. Because I've been a fan of the Mariners since, like, 2004. That's when I really started watching them. 2004. And, yeah. So I was, like, what, 8? Yeah, I was 8. So tomorrow is the first time I get to... I've literally imagined, like, dang, what would it be like for me to sit down and see the Mariners playing in a playoff game? I've literally imagined that at the start of every baseball season. Like, I wonder what that could possibly even be like. And I've always felt like it's never going to happen. They're never going to make the freaking playoffs.
Well, if they didn't change the rules and have a... Oh, I guess they would have made the second wild
Yeah,
card.
they were the second wild card, so they still would have been in. So
yeah,
I would have rather had the third wild card. It would have been a little easier path, but
yeah,
I'll take it. And nobody can short us and say, well, they changed the format.
They'd just be having a one-game playoff against...
Toronto.
Against Toronto.
Instead, they get a best of 3.
Yeah.
So, but it's still all in Toronto, so it's not going to be easy. I'm not expecting them to win, but I'm just going to enjoy watching them play a playoff. You know? Now I don't have to imagine it anymore. And we're young. Honestly, I feel like the Mariners might be my best chance at having one of my teams win a championship in the next, 3 to 5 years. As sad as that sounds. I wish it was the Blazers, guys, but... I think it might be the Mariners. Because they got a good young core. They finally hit the, they finally built a good young farm system, good young core. Anyway. Anything else for this?
Are the Sacramento Kings going to end their streak anytime soon?
I mean, if you base it off of their game against the Lakers, they're ending it this year. Any other players you wanted to talk about today, Eric?
I think we pretty much covered them all.
I mean, we could... I don't really feel like going deep on anyone else. Greg Brown had a couple nice moments. Had a couple of dribble moves that were good for him. Had a good Euro step, which was cool. Oh, we haven't talked about Greg Brown literally jawing with Sindarius Thornwell all game long. Did you notice that watching on the feed?
I didn't see any of it.
Dude.
I saw when he dunked and then handed the ball to the person and stood over him on the ground. I don't know if
they were going at that before that, and they literally, every dead ball, I swear, every dead ball when they were both in the game, they were just talking nonstop to each other. And then at one point, Sindarius Thornwell turned around on a free throw and started talking to the Blazers bench. I think he was talking to Nas, and Nas was laughing. And dude, that play where he got ejected, they were trash talking literally the entire game. That's why Greg Brown had that dunk and turned and yelled in his face. I don't know if you noticed that. Yeah, Greg Brown and Sindarius Thornwell were going at it. And then he gets ejected. It was hilarious.
Funny, though.
Funny, yeah. And then Jabari Walker got some run. I mean, 6 for 7 for the free throw line, 7 rebounds. He looked solid. I wasn't really watching him when he was in the game. He was in the game with Sharpe a lot, so I was looking for Sharpe. And I don't know. And then when Sharpe was out of the game, it was hard to not fall asleep.
Yeah.
With how slow-paced this freaking game was, so... Anyway. Mac Mall. Tori, did you finish that Buffalo Wild Wing pizza? How was it? So, I was on Gabe's play-by-play stream yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Chat, if you don't know who Gabe is, he runs Suns Valley Podcast, which is a Phoenix Suns channel, and he does live play-by-play streams for every game. So, I'll hop on there occasionally. So, I went on it yesterday. I saw an ad for a Buffalo Wild Wings pizza, Eric, that has boneless wings on it.
What?
Yeah. And I tried it on stream. I DoorDashed it.
Was it good?
It was spicier than I thought. It was too spicy, man. I don't know. It was like the spicy sauce that... The flavor was okay. It was just I don't know. It wasn't really like a pizza at all.
Can you choose the sauce, or is it...
No.
Okay, I see.
No, because they were like, what sauce of wing you're going to get? And there was no option, so I had no idea what to expect. But yeah, their advertisement worked, but I don't think I'll get it again. So maybe their advertisement backfired because now you guys won't get it.
Yeah.
How was the food looking in Moda this year? I did not pay attention, Dro. I wasn't going to buy anything from there.
Jackson, save it for next Thursday.
Yeah, Jackson, what are you doing? Why are you spoiling? Who wants Jackson's mod spot? Say me in chat if you want Jackson's mod spot. Anyway. think I'm gonna go get some food because I didn't eat in the Moda Center for a reason.
Now you got a bunch of people thinking they have a chance to be mods. Good job.
No, I didn't say they have a chance. I just said let me know if you want his spot. Doesn't mean they can get it.
Flag it says $18 for 4 bites of food from Cha Cha Cha.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. Jackson, you will never lose your mod spot if that's the only alternative. Anyway, anything else, Eric?
No, I mean, happy that we actually won a preseason game, and it was fun watching Sharpe score, especially that flurry he had with 15 points in less than 8 minutes.
Yeah, it was fun to see him play well.
But yeah, it'll be nice to have the starters back on the field, on the court on Sunday, and then, yeah, I mean, we're pretty close to the season starting, so.
Yep. Bag6 says, first time tuning in, enjoyed the stream. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Bag6. This is actually our second channel.
Hello.
If you haven't found us before, our main channel is Blazers Uprise without the live, so definitely go and check that out as well. We do videos, and that's where our post-game streams for the rest of the preseason and regular season will be. We just threw this one up on the second channel because it was Maccabi Ra'anana.
You didn't say it right that time. But
Ra'anan. How do you say it, Eric? I haven't heard you say it.
I think it's Ra'anana.
No. It's Ra. There's like an apostrophe between two A's. It's like Ra'anana.
Yeah, Ra'anana.
Yeah, that's what I said the first time.
That's what I just said.
What did I say before
I
that?
don't know.
You said I said it wrong.
You said it like weirdly. I don't know. You said it right the first time I heard you.
I think I said it right, but it just sounds wrong, you know?
Yeah.
I know you know what I'm talking about. Anyway. Yeah, we're gonna be live again on, as I said, on Sunday? Yeah, Sunday. On the main channel. Oh, I forgot a gnaw? Dang it. Chat's going off now. Thank you, chat, for entertaining us as always. Thank you for tuning in for this episode of Blazers Uprise Live. We'll be live again on Sunday.
And this was the most, like, I don't know what the right word is, unconventional post-game show. Usually we are a lot more locked in and focused, but
yeah,
I'm not feeling well, and Tori was at the game, and it was a non-NBA team, so if you want actually hard-hitting breakdowns with a lot of substance and stuff, check into the actual post-game shows.
And for regular season post-game shows, we're pulling out all the stops this year, all right? There's something that I'm going to be able to do that I never thought I would be able to do. But, you know, it's cool because if I need some help with something, this community is big enough that I can find somebody that specializes in that. So I found a coder, somebody who can code for something on post-game streams once the regular season starts. Nothing like too special, but for a YouTube stream, it's pretty dang sick, I think. All right, so I'm gonna try and animate more and cook up better graphics. If you guys have noticed, my thumbnails I think have improved the past year, so I'm gonna pull out all the stops for the post-game show graphics and everything that goes into that once the regular season starts on the 19th. So definitely stay tuned. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, check out NBA Uprise, link in the description box below. If it's not there, refresh your stream because I updated the description. Eric dropped a video yesterday. We'll have a video tomorrow just previewing the NBA. He's doing a top 5 series. It was top 5 rookies to watch yesterday. And then, which one do you want me to drop tomorrow, Eric?
Do the League Pass teams.
Top 5 League Pass teams to watch tomorrow.
Thank you, Answer.
And then I'll have a few videos over the weekend. And then, yeah, I don't know what I'll have next week, but stay tuned for videos and stay tuned for the stream on Sunday. I think that's it. Follow us on Twitter. Tags are there. With that being said, we're out of here. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.